Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's video and hanging out with me for a few minutes. I hope that your weekend is going really well. I'm excited to sit down and chat with you guys about all of the new makeup releases that have been announced over the last few days. I think that I've gotten more tags and messages on Instagram this past week than I have in like the past 6 months because there were a few products that I think caught some of us off guard. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys think, what you're planning on buying. Even if you're not going to buy anything, I would love to hear your thoughts on these products and what kind of catches your eye. I'm going to go through, I think I have like 8 or 9 different eyeshadow palettes, makeup collections, releases, and let you guys know which products I'm planning on purchasing, which ones I'm on the fence about, and which ones I'm going to completely pass on. So I'll link everything in the description box below, including release dates in case you guys are interested in something specific. So let's kick the video off with a few eyeshadow palettes. Those are always my favorite to talk about. Anastacio is coming out with a new product in their Norvina line, and it's one of their mini pro pigment palettes. So they're releasing volume 3 for $29, and it will be available online starting on January 27th and then in stores on January 31st. I feel like I haven't heard very much about their other two mini pro pigment palettes. I think they released them like right before the holidays when they were releasing the Norvina line as a whole. So if you guys have tried them, what do you think? I don't have a lot of interest in trying these palettes, to be honest with you guys, because I feel like they're a little bit all over the place. I know that I've mentioned this a lot, but I tend to prefer a more seamless color story. I don't combine a lot of contrasting colors. So when I look at this, I can appreciate the colors. I think they're beautiful, but I wouldn't really create a look using like the red and the blue or the green and the pink. So for that reason, I know that I wouldn't get that much use out of this palette. I have no problem buying an eyeshadow palette with the intention of using it as more of an accent palette. But when I look at a palette that just kind of has like a random, I don't even want to call it like a random color story, just not like a very seamless color story, I think that I get very overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. But like I said, individually, I think the colors are beautiful. The swatches of the duochrome shadows look amazing. So I think that they are really pretty, and I'm curious to see some looks with this palette, but I just know that I personally won't get a lot of use out of it. Although I do love the packaging, I think it's really fun. Okay, you guys, I am really excited to hear your thoughts on these next two products. I think a lot of you guys are going to be excited about them, and a lot of you guys are just going to skip over them, but I want to know what you think. So let's start with the Natasha Denona Love palette. Ever since she released the Sunrise palette last year, I have been waiting for her to do another $65 palette. I thought that was the perfect size, the perfect price point for Natasha Denona. We all know that her eyeshadows are very expensive, and I've just never been willing to spend $129 on one of her palettes because that's just a little bit too much for me for one palette. I just don't want to spend that much on eyeshadow because I just don't think that the formula, I like the formula. I tried the Sunrise palette. I gave it a positive review. It ranked pretty high in my palette ranking, but I don't think that I like it enough to spend $129 on a palette. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting for her to do another $65 palette because for $65, you get a ton of shadow. You get 15 different options, and that makes more sense to me. Anyways, when I saw the initial sneak peek of the Love palette, she released a photo of like the outside packaging. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this. I think I was either expecting like a lighter, more natural palette with light pinks and soft golds and, mid-toned browns, or I was expecting a really intense, rich, vibrant palette with like deep reds and burgundies and violets and maybe some really rich pinks. So I guess kind of like this palette, just maybe a lot more intense, but I've had a little while to look at it, and you guys, the more that I look at this and the more swatches and videos and photos I see, the more that I want it. I love pinks and purples. I'm wearing them today. I feel like in 2019, I went through a phase where I was kind of over them and I was wearing like greens and blues and neutrals, but I'm kind of getting back into like my pink and purple phase. I go back and forth all the time. But anyways, I kind of like this because a lot of my pink and purple palettes are either super bright and really vibrant, or they're very subtle and almost like washed out. And this is more of a mid-toned palette. The other thing that kind of swayed my opinion is when Natasha Denona swatched this palette on her Instagram, and it wasn't the swatches. I mean, the swatches looked amazing, but her shadows, I do like the formula. It was the fact that she actually did the swatches in 2 different categories, like in the end. So she did the purple swatches, and then she did like the pink and gold and red swatches. And that, again, just makes so much more sense for my brain and the way that it works. And that appealed to me so much more. So I'm actually really considering this one for February. I've been wanting to try more of her shadows. I'm going to give myself like a week and see how I feel. I really try not to impulse buy anymore. So we'll we'll give it a week, see if, you know, the excitement kind of wears off. And if I'm still thinking about buying it, I will grab it. It could be a really good palette to use alongside of Sunrise. And I don't know, I just want to try more from Natasha Denona. And I think that this could be my next palette from her. So Natasha Denona is also releasing a gorgeous cheek palette. I'm pretty sure I mentioned the Natasha Denona Bloom Blush and Glow palette as one of my favorite Sephora purchases of 2019. I got so much use out of that. It was kind of like a spring and summer essential for me. And I'm sure when spring hits again, I will pull it back out and use it even more. I use it from time to time, but I think the colors, they just kind of appeal to me most during the spring and the summer, and it's an easy palette. Whether I'm doing more of a natural makeup look or something a little bit more intense, I just had a lot of fun with it, and everything was very glowy, very pretty on the cheeks. So it looks like she's doing it again. This one is the Love Glow Cheek Palette, which will also be available on January 28th online, and then February 6th in stores for $55. It comes with 4 different products. There's one cream product, which is their Glow Cream Base in a pretty red coral, and then the rest are powder products. So this actually appeals to me a little bit more because even though I like the creams in the Bloom Blush and Glow palette, I typically wear powder rather than cream. I do wear those creams, just not as much as the powder. So the fact that there are 3 powders sounds even better. This one's a little bit different than her other palette because some of the formulas are different. Like I said, there's a glow cream base, but there is a super glow, a diamond powder, and then a glow impact powder. And then of course the shades are different too. I'm not always a cheek palette fan, but because I got so much use out of the other palette, I am curious to try this one. So I do think I will end up purchasing this, but I'm not in a big hurry because these look like shades I will really love to use in spring and summer. I change up my makeup seasonally. You could wear these any time of the year, but I know myself and I probably won't reach for them a whole lot until spring hits. So I think I will try to wait for a Sephora VIB sale or a coupon. So Fenty has been releasing and sneak peeking quite a few products. I'm so excited to see that they are expanding the Gloss Bomb line. That is my favorite lip gloss. I know that I rave about it so often, but they are making 2 of the shades from their holiday release permanent. So Sweet Mouth and Hot Chocolate are going to be available as full-size glosses. I know so many people were excited about Hot Chocolate. It's such a gorgeous shade. I just wore it in my most recent Get Ready With Me. I would say that my #1 favorite is Fenty Glow, then Hot Chocolate, and then the third one would be Fussy. Sweet Mouth is pretty. It's a little bit more of like a sheer pearly pink. I would say that it's a little bit lighter and a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit more frosty than Fussy. So it's not an essential for me. I definitely think Hot Chocolate is going to be an essential for a lot of you guys, but keep in mind they are pretty sheer. I think the initial promo photos make that shade look a lot darker, and it is darker than Fenty Glow, but it's still very, very sheer. It's just a little bit cooler. I think it looks so pretty if you're wearing it over like a nude lip liner or you're not wanting like such a warm shade like the regular Fenty Glow shade. They're also doing a clear gloss called Glass Slipper, and at first I was like, ooh, I think I'll grab that one. And then I was like, no, I do not need that one. I don't wear clear gloss very often. I actually have a clear gloss from e.l.f. that was like $2 or $3 that looks so pretty on days where I do want clear, but it's very rare. Typically, I reach for a gloss that has like a hint of color, and I almost fell into the hype and purchased a $19 clear gloss. So I will not be buying that one. They're also releasing something called the What It Do Makeup Refreshing Spray for $30. It's a hydrating mist that can be used under makeup for foundation prep or over makeup to revitalize and refresh your skin throughout the day. It sounds nice. It sounds like something I would try, but it sounds pretty similar to the Smashbox Primer Water, which I actually used today for the first time in a while because my skin has been a little bit dry and I remembered how much I loved it. So because I have the primer water, I don't need to purchase this. The last Fenty release I wanted to mention is their new Mattemoiselle Trifecta Plush Matte Lipstick Set, which retails for $39. It comes with 3 of their permanent shades. It's a limited edition set, but these shades are all available individually. I actually checked Sephora's website and they regularly retail for $18. So if you purchase them as a set, rather than purchasing those 3 separately, you would be saving $15. That would be a good deal if you wanted all 3 of these shades, but if there's really only one that jumps out at you, I'd maybe stick with that one and save yourself the $21. I have tried this formula and it's nice. I actually purchased the shade Spanked when they were first released and it never really became a staple for me. I think it's partly because the shade that I purchased wasn't my favorite, but also because The formula wasn't really anything special. It was very soft and it did leave you with a matte finish. It was pretty lightweight. So, I mean, I guess I take it back. It was a nice formula. I just feel like I have a lot of matte lipsticks, so it never became a staple. So I won't be buying that, but there are 2 more lipstick sets I want to talk about. One that I won't buy and one that I will buy. So let me talk about the one that I'm not going to buy. I love Hourglass, but this lipstick duo is ridiculously overpriced. This is the Confession Ultra Slim High Intensity Refillable Set. It is a limited edition set that comes with 2 exclusive shades and gold applicators. $72 is the price, and I just feel like that's absolutely insane to me. I understand that Hourglass is a luxury brand, and trust me, I have Hourglass products that I love, that I recommend, that I think are staples, but I just don't understand the $72 price tag for 2 of their lipsticks. Okay, so I'm on the Sephora website. One lipstick with an applicator, like from the original line, is $36, but a lipstick refill is $22, which is a lot more reasonable. So I think those applicators are the reason why they are expensive. They're limited edition, they're gold. Maybe if they included 1 applicator and 2 lipsticks, they could bring the price down and that would have made a little bit more sense, but I'm sure there are people who are willing to pay for it. I mean, I like Hourglass, but I just feel like that's a little bit too much. So obviously, I won't be buying that. If you are interested, you can get that set on their website now. The lipstick set that I am going to buy is a lot more affordable. So ColourPop has a few new releases, including these Luxe Velvet Liquid Lipsticks. They are available now on the ColourPop website. You can get them individually for $8 each or as a duo for $15. These actually sound really appealing to me because there are days where I want to wear a liquid lipstick. It's not my favorite formula these days. I definitely prefer a lip gloss or a cream lipstick or even a lip liner, but there are days where I just feel like I need a liquid lipstick. If I have a really long day ahead of me or if I'm heading to like a party, like the holidays were last month and we went to holiday parties where we were eating and drinking and talking. That's when I reached for a liquid lipstick because I didn't have to worry about it getting on my teeth. I didn't have to touch it up throughout the night. So there definitely are occasions where I want a liquid lipstick. And what's appealing about these is that they're described as weightless whipped velvet liquid lipstick. So they sound like they're going to be a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable. I think I will grab one of the duos because obviously you can wear them alone or mix them together and get a few different looks out of them. And I'm just curious to try out the new formula. I do really like ColourPop lip products. My favorite are their lippy tints, but I also like their lippy sticks. I wear those all the time. I'm wearing one today. So are you guys into liquid lipsticks at all, or are you completely over them? I know a lot of people are just not into them at all, but I kind of feel like I'm always on the hunt for like a really comfortable formula. Now that brands have been releasing them for years, I do feel like brands are kind of improving the formulas. So I'm always on the hunt for like the next best thing to wear when I do want something to stay in place all day. Okay, ColourPop also released 2 new soft glam sets. Each set retails for $38. It comes with a 9-pan eyeshadow palette, a big Super Shock highlighter, and then 2 of the lippy tints, or you can purchase the products individually. So they did send me one of the collections in the mail as PR. I'm wearing it today, or most of the products today, because I am working on like a best and worst new ColourPop video, including some of their new releases. And I thought I would test this out and let you guys know if I thought it was worth the money. I know a lot of us love color and we love bright shadows and we've been enjoying like their monochromatic palettes, but whenever I think that people are kind of over neutrals, because a lot of people say they are, I'm always like snapped back to reality after reading the comments on Instagram or even on my YouTube videos. I just filmed a video using the Mint to Be palette, and while there were a lot of you guys that were interested in that palette and curious about it, I was kind of surprised by how many comments I guess said the exact opposite. And they weren't like rude comments directed at me at all. There were just a lot of comments saying like the colors are completely unwearable. Those colors aren't meant to be worn on the eyes. Like they're pretty, but people shouldn't actually wear them on their face, or it's just like an unwearable palette. So I think as much as people say they want colorful, they want the bright tones, the neutral collections sell. So brands are going to keep releasing neutral collections, even though we've seen them over and over. I think the majority of consumers, that's what they're going to buy. That's what they're going to wear. So I think this collection could be appealing to you if you're into softer tones. I mean, I'm wearing the palette today. Obviously, I chose some of the more like bright colors, but I think it performed perfectly. ColourPop's formulas typically do. What's nice about ColourPop palettes is that I've noticed they haven't really been putting pressed glitters in a lot of their palettes, which has been really nice, as well as these palettes. So they don't have pressed glitters in them. The shadows are a little bit softer. I think they're pretty. So I'll do a full review for you guys on these 3 products in my roundup video. There won't be a ton of products in that video, but I have been testing a few that should be up maybe like the first week of February. The last ColourPop collection I want to touch on is this one, which kind of looks like their Valentine's Day collection, although it's early, so they might actually have like a true Valentine's Day collection coming, but this one kind of sounds like it is. So it's coming soon to Ulta Beauty online and then also to ColourPop's website. So there is a 12-pan eyeshadow palette called You're a Cutie for $18. It kind of looks like what's that palette? Flutterby? It kind of looks like that one. It's a muted, cooler toned palette with browns and purples. I think either one of those palettes would be a great option for you if you love cooler toned shadows. They don't do a ton of cooler toned palettes, so when they do, I think it does appeal to like a very specific demographic. There's a Super Shock Cheek Duo for $14. These look pretty. Out of everything in the collection, I think that these look the most beautiful. There's also a lippy trio that comes with a lippy sticks primer, and then a lippy pencil for $10.35. Which sounds like a random price tag. And then the last thing is an eye duo for $16 that comes with one of their mascaras and a cream gel liner. I think the collection is pretty, but I'm going to skip over it. I have a couple of other ColourPop products that I'm testing that I've purchased, that I've gotten in the mail as PR, so I just don't need to add another collection to my collection because you know, it gets to be a lot. So I won't be buying this one. If you are into cooler tones, this one might really appeal to you. And it is also going to be available on the Ulta Beauty website. The last thing I want to mention is the new Bare Minerals collection. This is the Beauty of Nature collection, and it's inspired by blooming tropical hues and natural textures. At first glance, I totally thought this was Physicians Formula for some reason. And I feel like the brands kind of remind me of one another, but I don't know what it is about Bare Minerals. It just doesn't appeal to me, which is okay because there are a million makeup brands. They can't all appeal to every single one of us. And I feel like they know who their demographic is, and it's just not me, at least in this stage of my life, and that's okay. We have a Sephora inside JCPenney at our mall, and the first stand is Bare Minerals. And I almost feel bad, but like when I walk into Sephora, which isn't very often, but when I do, only because I like to shop online or shop at Ulta. But anyways, when I do, I typically walk right past that stand. I don't even give it a second glance. There's just something about the brand that does not catch my attention. And I know that Bare Minerals has a very dedicated demographic, so they're not going to be hurting without my business by any means. And I've tried products from the brand that I've enjoyed, like their Gen Nude Buttercream lip glosses. Those were amazing. Anyways, this collection, even if it wasn't Bare Minerals, even if it was Physicians Formula, which is one of my favorite brands, I don't think I would buy this one. It comes with some blushes, a new lipstick formula, an eyeshadow palette, a few other products. It looks like a pretty collection, especially for spring. And if you're into more natural, you know, more like everyday makeup, this might appeal to you, but I personally just won't be picking up anything from this collection for now. So I think that's it for now. There are some other products, but I try to narrow it down to what I think is like the most interesting, the products I think you guys want to hear about. If there's anything I missed that you are excited to try or that you think is interesting or innovative, let me know in the comment section below. But I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you guys on Tuesday with a new video. Bye.